So if you've ever found yourself juggling a bunch of different AI agents, you know it can get, well, chaotic. It's kind of like trying to manage a team of super smart freelancers who are amazing at their jobs, but they forget everything the second you close the browser tab. Today, we're diving into a tool that wants to fix that. It's called Paperclip AI, and its whole goal is to be the operating system for your entire AI workforce.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll get into that agent chaos that so many of us are living through. Then, we'll see how Paperclip lets you actually build and run a structured AI company. We'll also figure out when you might actually need a tool like this. And finally, we'll zoom out and take a look at what this all means for the future of AI work. All right, let's kick things off with a problem that I'm sure feels very familiar to a lot of you: the AI agent chaos. You know, this subtitle really hits the nail on the head. Are you managing your agents, or are they starting to manage you? Because for a lot of us, it definitely feels like the second one. Does any of this ring a bell? You've got like 20 different Claude tabs open, each one chipping away at some code, and you honestly can't remember which is which. Then you restart your computer and poof, all that precious context is just gone. You're left with this messy, disorganized pile of scripts. And maybe, just maybe, you've had that heart-stopping moment when a runaway loop starts burning through your API budget. It's a total management nightmare.
And that's exactly where Paperclip aims to step in. The whole idea is to take you from that chaotic pile of scripts and turn it into a real, structured organization. You stop thinking about hiring individual freelancers and start thinking about building an entire company.
So what is this thing really? Well, Paperclip AI is an open-source orchestration layer. You can think of it as a control plane for running what it calls autonomous AI companies. And the key thing to get here is that it's not meant to replace your favorite AI agents. Instead, it manages them as a coordinated team, giving them the structure they need to actually work together.
You know, this quote from the developers just nails it. It's the perfect way to understand this. If an agent you're using, like OpenClaw, is your employee, then Paperclip is the company that employee works for. It's the org chart, the mission statement, and the management layer that the employee just plugs right into.
So how do you actually get started? Well, it's basically a three-step process, and it's surprisingly simple. First, you define a big, clear goal for your company, like build the #1 AI note-taking app. Step 2, you hire your team. You assign roles like CEO or engineer to any AI bot you want. And finally, you become the board of directors. You approve the strategy, you set the budgets, and you watch it all happen from a single dashboard.
Okay, so you've built your AI company, now what? You've got to run it, right? So in this next part, let's look at how Paperclip gives you the exact tools you need to be that board of directors, overseeing the entire operation from the top.
This slide, I think, really drives the whole point home. It's a straight-up before and after. On the left, you've got the chaos we talked about. Lost context, runaway costs, doing everything by hand. But then you look at the right side, with Paperclip, and everything becomes structured. Tasks are handled through tickets, context flows down from the company's main goal, and costs are tracked and controlled. It really is a shift from pure chaos to actual order.
So how does it pull all this off? Well, it's got these really smart management features baked in. You get a real org chart to define who reports to who. Goal alignment makes sure every agent knows why it's doing what it's doing. You get cost controls, a governance system where you approve big decisions, and even this cool heartbeat feature for scheduled work. And maybe best of all, everything is tracked in a ticket system, so nothing ever gets lost.
And here's a little example of what that org chart might actually look like. This is what makes it feel real, right? It's a simple table, but you can see how you'd assign different AI models to different roles. Maybe Claude is your CEO, Cursor is your CTO, and each one has its own clear role and, super importantly, its own monthly budget.
All right, this all sounds pretty powerful. But let's be real, it raises a big question. Is Paperclip the right tool for you and what you're working on? Or is it maybe overkill? Let's try and figure that out.
To answer that, you really have to get what Paperclip is, and maybe more importantly, what it isn't. It is an org chart. It is a governance layer. It is a cost control system. What it's not is a chatbot. And it's not a framework like LangGraph for building agents from scratch. Think of it as the management layer that sits on top of all the agents you already use or build.
So let's just put the question right out there. Looking at what it does, could this actually be overkill for what you're trying to accomplish right now? Well, probably not if you're a small business that's managing these complex, multi-step workflows. I mean, think about a marketing team where one agent does market research, another writes the copy, and a third one handles the SEO.
Or imagine a software team, where you have agents for coding, others for writing docs, and still others for reviewing bug reports. It's really built for these kinds of coordinated, multi-agent operations.
But you know what? Here's the simplest way to think about it, and this comes straight from the source. Paperclip is for teams. If you're only using one agent, you probably don't need it. But if you're trying to juggle 10 or 20 of them, yeah, it's designed to solve exactly the problems you're running into. Okay, for our last section, let's just zoom out for a second. Because a tool like Paperclip, it's really pointing to a bigger shift in how we think about AI at work. We're moving beyond these solo, siloed agents and into an era of fully coordinated AI teams. And this tagline, wow, it really captures the whole vision, doesn't it? Open source orchestration for zero human companies. I mean, that is a bold statement about a future where entire businesses could potentially be run by these autonomous, coordinated AI teams.
And that really leaves us with a huge, fascinating question. We're getting incredibly good at building the AI employees. But as they go from being solo workers to being part of these complex teams, maybe the most important role isn't the worker at all. Maybe it's the manager. And that's exactly the space Paperclip is trying to own.